All right, guys. It's time for a little bit of that gaming news. Now we're back to the wholesomeness. All right, the wholesomeness. Just giving out some information. And as you can see right here by the header, Insomniac Games reveals who their main universe's Spider-Man is, but that doesn't mean that the other is gone. And what are we talking about today? Well, Insomniac Games apparently is going to make Miles Morales. That's right, this is going to give Yellow Flash a heart attack, or maybe some potential a lot of money. But Miles Morales, according to Insomniac, will be the main Spider-Man, apparently, in the game. Now, look, I knew this was kind of coming, and I told you before, I'm not gonna have a heart attack over it. I'm not gonna, outrage a lot, just because it's like I guess I'm not fully invested enough to be offended by it, and I just don't want to put on the facade of like grifting it and being angry all the time. It's like it is what it is, Do I particularly care? No. If the game is on sale and if it's fun or whatever, if it's there, it's there. I'll just fucking pay for it, I guess, and play just to get it over with. Again, get some achievements, put it in my, library, and that's about it. But I won't think much of it, Being a Spider-Man with all the exaggerated swagger of a black teen isn't really gonna hurt me. So, you know. So, yeah, I mean, let's read this article a little bit, though. Insomniac Games knew very early on where they wanted to take the story of Marvel Spider-Man 2, including who their main Spider-Man in the universe was going to be, in a spoiler-filled interview with Gizmodo. What a name. Insomniac's narrative director, Ben Offerman, and advance writer Brittany Morris opened up about the game's story and how early on they thought about some of the decisions they made, including the ending, which, spoilers, sees Miles Morales telling Peter that he got this as he swings out the crime, leaving Peter to enjoy a bit of life. So, the thing with that is, and I guess, the fucking spoilers there or whatever, I should have given a disclaimer or some, maybe, but apparently. And the funny thing about this is I thought it was a joke at first because I was, like I said, I watched reviews. I didn't watch the entire cutscenes yet to make fun of it, but I was watching reviews, and in the reviews they did say that this was part of the top 10 wokenesses in Spider-Man 2. They were like, Peter Parker literally retires to become like an environmentalist or some shit. And I'm like, there's just no way they're doing this. And well, lo and behold, I guess they're doing it. Now, I could say that having a Spider-Man with all the exaggerated swagger of a black teen is also woke, but then at that point it's just saying like, oh, this is being, black teen being woke, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, I think there are differences, right? For example, I don't necessarily think this is bad because canonically there is a, African American Spider-Man, or what do I keep saying African American? Puerto Rican, right? Well, half and half, like whatever. I know somebody's gonna get upset out there, but whatever. You get what I mean, mixed Spider-Man there. But at least it's canonical, right? Now, when you get into other things such as, and I saw this earlier on Twitter in the week, Michael B. Jordan playing Hercules. At that point, you're kind of stretching it because as far as the source material for that goes, Hercules was Greek and white, not African American at any point. Not that I'm gonna, again, particularly rage about this. I don't even know if I'll make a video on it. Maybe I'll laugh at it a little bit and point out why it's funny. But other than that, yeah, it's not, it's affecting the source material. One clearly affects source material in a clear effort to try to like warp a narrative obviously, or at least just overly pander, and be an annoyance. While another one is just taking something that's already been established in the universe and as its source in another direction. We've seen this done like various times, and this one isn't really bad, especially because it's the Insomniac universe. That's not to say the Insomniac universe is particularly good right now in any way, shape, or form. If you go to my playlist, you'll know what I think about the wokeness in it. But again, a nice little change in pace personally for me, right? And I don't like the wokeness, right? You guys know this. This is obvious, but this doesn't necessarily equal deal breaker for me, if that makes any sense. So it says, it always felt very natural, and I think we could all collectively thought it would happen. Morris said to me, it shows a great deal of evolution from Miles. At the beginning of the game, we see him struggling to figure out what he wants to do with his life. By the end, we had Miles carrying the burden of saving the city and also carrying Pete when Pete wasn't strong enough to carry himself at various points. That's what's been so cool about writing a story about two Spider-Men. They're both strong, and one of them can be strong when the other's not. By the end, Miles is more confident, and he's like, yeah, I got this. How much worse can things get after what we just went through? And, credit to them, when they're not going with the wokeness and stuff. This is actually an interesting and a decent angle to go for this writing, right? Because it is true, you started out with Miles Morales not knowing what the hell to do and being really, really green and just, the guy that has a little bit of training but is still, not enough confidence to lead, so to speak, to have like all these burdens on his shoulder. And to see them evolve, right, as, seeing what his mentor has been through, helping his mentor, not get yeeted into, out of existence. It's good. It's a good direction. It doesn't feel forced, and it's a writer's best friend, or semi-best friend, whatever. Arfman chimed in, saying that they knew pretty early on they wanted to have a moment when Peter essentially handed the reins of Spider-Man to Miles. I think it was John who wrote that scene in the Aunt May's garage, and it's one of my favorite. The way that Miles intuits exactly what Pete is thinking and stops him from stumbling through trying to hand over the mask. Miles going, I got this, bro. It's such a great moment between the two of them, and it felt like such a natural conclusion. I'm not sure when specifically we decided to do that, but it always felt like the only way the game could end. Now, to clarify, this doesn't mean that Miles Morales will be the star of the third main Spider-Man game. It said at least how we interpret it based on our time with the game is that Miles will no longer be the student. Throughout the game, he's constantly seeking Peter's help, which ties into the ending when Peter tries to offer it. Essentially means that Miles has grown and can handle things himself. Looking back at the intro of the game, Peter was all ready to let Miles be on his own while he stayed and taught at the school as Sandman was attacking the city. He was in no immediate rush because Miles was already going to take care of it. It was only then when Miles came back that he saw Peter pulled back in. Peter was already training Miles to take over in some capacity. After all, he's been Spider-Man for over 10 years now in this universe. He doesn't deserve to take breaks. Ultimately, it means that it was a theme throughout both Spider-Man games that Peter can finally balance his hero and personal life. It does not mean that Peter's done being Spider-Man. Far from it. He'll definitely be returning in the third game and most likely be playable. Just that New York can expect to see a lot more of Miles while Peter can finally make time for his personal life. And again, this doesn't hit you over the head with unrealism. In fact, this makes a lot of sense as well. It's a typical kind of storytelling thing as well, like writing structure. It's been done a couple times. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it has. It is essentially the whole student-mentor dynamic, the veteran, and then, somebody taking up the mantle a little bit, so to speak. Been done countless times. If you do it right, it's good, and it leads to more interesting stuff. Because sure, you can have Spider-Man 3 come out and just have like the same formula, I guess, Peter Parker again. But if you want to go a little more on a different direction, yeah, sure, why not do this? Now, I don't know if there'll be more woke elements inserted because of this, but as it stands, not really anything that people should be at least getting angry about, that I've heard people get angry about. But maybe that's subject to change. Maybe we'll see some outrage somewhere. Maybe we'll see some rage bait. Maybe we'll see people cry because people are weird sometimes, man. But whatever. That's all I got for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. There's a little bit of gaming news. Gaming. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good day.